The video is called The Most Abusable Power Type in Anime. Video by PintIsHere.
Okay, let's play a game. This is the Wheel of Manipulation Powers.
Okay.
The wheel has all sorts of substances,
Cardboard,
materials,
grass, leaves,
and objects.
feathers, sand, wax, clay, wool. Okay, some of these are buns, some of these are kind of cool. Sand, obviously, I'm thinking Gara, pretty broken. Grass can be pretty broken. Anything that's ubiquitous, if there's enough of it around, quantity-wise, manipulating it can be kind of broken. Feathers can be aight. If there's a lot of birds around. Wool, I guess you can, squeeze people in their own clothes depending on what they're wearing. Cardboard, I don't know. I mean, cardboard can be sharp. I've cut myself on cardboard before, but yeah, I don't know about that. Wax is cool. All right, let's see what we're getting at.
Whatever the wheel lands on is
glass is
your
cool.
superpower.
Rubber is cool.
You gain complete control over that one thing.
Okay.
Anyway, now that you know the rules, let's spin the wheel.
Give me some fire. Soap manipulation. I mean, if I carry some soap on me, that could be kind of tough. You know what I mean? Like if I keep like bottles of Dove around me and like I like water bend the soap and I can like, make it hit people. It depends on how fast I can move the soap, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, and then also like, for a guy like me who doesn't use soap, that's pretty dangerous. I haven't used soap in about, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 years. And so already like the effect on my body would be kind of crazy, Soap is actually poisonous. You shouldn't be using it. Let me stop trolling. I feel like sometimes when niggas watch these videos and they don't really know me like that yet, they might not think I'm trolling, bro. They might just think I'm dirty and just click off the video. All right, soap manipulation.
You got soap. So basically, you can manipulate soap. I guess that's good for quick showers. Also, you can thoroughly clean your
I like
butt
the
crack.
art on his avatars. The custom art and shit. Yeah, kind of cool. I respect it.
No, but really, take a moment to think about what that ability can do.
I mean, if you have enough of it, you can make shit slip. And if you can, depending on how far you can draw it in from, again, a lot of manipulation just comes from, quantity. Like if I could draw the soap out of everyone's house in a mile radius, I could turn it to a big ass soap ball and like crush a nigga with it. So not crazy or not horrible, I guess. Oops.
Can manipulate soap, that means you can shape, push, pull, harden, compress, and control.
I guess, yeah, hardening and compressing too. But does hardening count as manipulation? I feel like that kind of goes into a whole different power, the ability to harden things. It just depends on where you draw the line, I guess.
Anything made out of soap. You can block attacks with soap bars, or spread it across the ground to make people slip.
Is that a power? That would be a fucking power someone has in fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
And have you ever gotten soap in your eyes? Well, that shit sucks. And you can do that to anyone instantly. You could even...
That is true. Counter people.
Crush someone to death while they're in the middle of a bath. Huh? All of that just from the control...
Crush someone to death? How much soap do y'all got in y'all baths, bruh?
...of one inconspicuous item. That is the point of today's video.
Also, what counts as soap, bruh? I'm sure there's probably some like really powerful industrial ass soaps that are effectively acid. So if you can get your hands on that, hold on, that could be kind of crazy.
Do not be fooled by the presentation.
Oh yeah, Mushroom Girl from My Hero, she was kind of cracked. She was kind of fucking scary, bro. Didn't she have mushrooms growing out of people's lungs and shit? That shit was wicked.
The second that any power ends with the word manipulation, it instantly becomes S tier. Because in truth, the object itself...
Yeah, that shit was kind of... I don't know why they let her do that shit, bruh. She was growing mushrooms in people's lungs while they were trying to breathe. In a school fight, mind you. It was not that deep. I see why the One For All Vestiges tapped in with Deku that next round. They said, oh, okay, yeah. No, we got to protect our boy. Let's show ourselves. Let's show the rest of these quirks.
Doesn't really matter. It's what you can do with the object that makes it insane. So in this video, I'll be explaining why manipulation powers are actually the most deadly abilities in fiction.
Okay.
Going over some of the most brutal and intense examples.
Blood bending. Yeah, I mean, all bending is pretty cracked. They kind of balance each other out.
Understand what separates.
Except fire. Fire's kind of buns. I've always thought fire bending was kind of buns, but that's just me.
Just controlling water from ripping out all the blood from someone's body.
Wasn't that Magneto, like iron bending, sort of?
Stick around. You might just learn something important. When people imagine strong powers, they usually dwell on the obvious. Super strength, super speed, flight, and laser vision are some that immediately come to mind.
You know, I've always said there's a lot of cool powers out there. But if I had to pick one of the basics, just give me flight, bro. Just let me fly and I'm cool.
These powers seem strong because their strength is immediately understandable. If a character can punch through solid concrete, you don't exactly need to theory craft to figure out why they're dangerous. Just look at that. He literally caved someone's skull in. But manipulation powers are different. They usually sound weak because the word before manipulation typically sounds so normal.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that is an anime ass trope too. To have this like really weak, obscure manipulation ability that's only strong when you think about it in the most like oddball way possible. That's like a trope that I feel like I first approached in anime. I can't remember exactly where, but I remember the feeling of being like reading Naruto, for example, and seeing Gaara, right? I was probably in 1st or 2nd grade. I had a friend named Justin and a friend named Vondi. And Vondi, he was like a year older than us. He was allowed to watch Toonami and shit, you know, whatever. And he had these Naruto manga, and Justin stole the manga from Vondi. All right, whole time, you know, I did this, that wasn't my bag. I wasn't the one stealing, okay? But, you know, I did read the mangas with Justin, because I didn't know they were stolen at first. And I remember seeing Gaara. I used to be really, really into Gaara. And at first when I saw him, I was like, sand manipulation? Like, what? This shit is buns. And then I read how they used it. It was pretty cold.
Of course, abilities like time manipulation or gravity manipulation are obviously stacked from the get-go.
Right.
But things like sand, bubble, or fiber manipulation are all incredibly...
Fiber is another one. Yeah, best genus. That one was pretty weird too, because fiber was a very broad general term. Like I never would have thought he would have been able to control metal cables with fiber manipulation rather.
Inconspicuous. But don't let the names fool you though. When you really break these down, all of these abilities are terrifying. The primary reason why manipulation powers are so strong is because they usually give a character 4 things at once: offense, defense, mobility, and utility. Most powers are lucky.
And also they kind of come with little sub powers too. You know what I'm saying? Like what we were talking about earlier with the soaps. Hardening is low-key a whole separate ability that is usually kind of just packaged with manipulation. You know what I mean? Same with like sharpening or, you know, controlling the speed of things. Like manipulation shouldn't inherently mean, oh, I can suddenly move this thing at Mach speed towards your sternum and stab right through you. But a lot of times, because of the nature of manipulation abilities, that's just how it ends up working, right? And so manipulation ends up being like, you control an element, but you can also control its speed to an insane degree and its hardness to an insane degree. And sometimes you can multiply it to an insane degree. And then, you know, if you get into like One Piece style, I think it was Logia, right? Like Logia powers where you can become the element. That's a whole nother thing where like now you kind of have a quasi intangibility. And so manipulation can get pretty broad because it's kind of like a package deal sort of power.
Key to even get 2. But a good manipulation ability can pretty decently cover almost every category, depending on how creative the user is. There are countless examples of this versatility in fiction, but to truly hammer in this point, I want to focus on a more ridiculous example.
Okay.
My Hero Academia is a series...
My Hero does have a lot of weird manipulation abilities, quirks, whatever. So I wonder what he's going to go for.
Full of ridiculous powers, including, yes, the guy with the spray bottle.
Yo, I seen y'all trying to... Hold on, bro. Let me pull up that picture. Y'all been doing me dirty in the server, bro. I don't know where the fuck this came from. We got to open a dialogue on y'all, bro. Who made this shit, bro? Who made this shit right here? Show yourself. Own up to your crimes. Who made this shit? Who made this shit? Y'all want to play spray bottles? Like I don't have 2-month-old tap water ready to spray you? That's why I'm a spray bottle. Y'all want to play with spray bottle? We can play with spray bottles. Crazy work, bruh. Look at this shit, bro. Niggas did me so... How do you even think of this? This My Hero side character. Niggas gonna disrespect. Y'all could have just, at that point, made me... So many other characters you could have picked. I don't see what you're talking about. It's just a photo. Niggas got jokes now. Okay. Let's keep it pushing. Hey, a spray bottle dude might be tough. We don't know. We don't know what he's spraying, to be fair. And also, I feel like it's pretty unaddressed. What do these fingers do? He has long fingers, so, you know, we don't really know the full extent of his quirk, so maybe he's tough.
But Ending's quirk, White Line, is a truly special level of absurdity. Ending can manipulate painted lane.
Who the fuck is this? Ending? Nigga, did this nigga get an exclusive My Hero episode we haven't seen? Was this Vigilantes?
Lines. Not the cement beneath them, that would be Cementos. Not the earth beneath the road, that would be Pixie Bob. Not even paint in general. This guy can literally only control the white lines painted on.
Who the fuck is... Oh, this had to be like... Okay, yeah. This looks like Endeavor internship arc. So some short little side villain they threw in real quick, something like that. Okay. Yeah. I think some of the best manipulation abilities, now that I think about it, do come when someone has like the ability to manipulate something abstract, right? Because a white line can be anything from white lines on the road to a line of white light. You know what I mean? So like when people get abilities like, oh yeah, I can manipulate. I'm trying to think of an example. When they go like, I can manipulate. There's some, I can't think of the show exactly, right? But there's some shows where they'll be like, yo, I can manipulate, I can't think of an example. Like I can manipulate trains, and then all of a sudden they can manipulate your train of thought, or like, you know what I mean? Where they go into like wordplay or shit like that. Those do be some pretty cool. Yeah, like Break and Seal and Daemons of the Shadow Realm. I know Daemons of the Shadow Realm is pretty, like it's kind of, it's niche-ish still. But in Daemons of the Shadow Realm, there's these two abilities, one called Break and one called Seal. And, you know, they do what they sound like they do. They break things and seal things. But the application is very, very broad, right? And we don't even know how broad the application is yet. Thank you for the sub, Kepsosa. And so, like, you know, for all we know, break can give someone a mental breakdown. Or, like, you know what I mean? Something like that. So I do think, like, more abstract versions of manipulation where you can manipulate a concept, that's when shit gets really cool.
To roads. And somehow, he makes that work. He uses those road markings.
Oh, so he can only do road markings. Is he black? Like, why has he got dark skin like that? This shit kind of crazy too, though, because when you think about it, quirks are genetic abilities. How do you gain a genetic ability that interacts with something as man-made as a road marking? Like, I'm sure his quirk is probably more powerful than this. He just doesn't even understand the full extent of his quirk. I wouldn't be surprised with that.
Like restraints, whips, and extensions of his own body, pushing himself off the ground while simultaneously taking on 4 opponents at the same time.
Who is he fighting? Endeavor?
And these aren't nobodies. Ending is fighting the current #1 hero.
Oh, I do remember this. Didn't he end up getting frozen by Todoroki? I think I remember this now.
Endeavor, with support from Bakugo, Todoroki, and Deku. Characters who, at that point, are already at an absurdly higher level than...
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know if manipulating road lines should have been this strong, but I mean, it does give him a lot to work with, to be fair.
Most pro heroes. And yet, Ending is still a problem. It just goes to show how high the baseline value of manipulation powers actually is. Even when the material is stupid, rare, or...
What is that? Oh yeah, plant manipulation. Plant manipulation goes crazy. Thank you for the sub, Kep Sosa. Plant manipulation goes crazy.
Specific.
Yo, Mob had some pretty cool manipulation, takes on manipulation with the different ways espers could manipulate things. You kind of saw it less towards the end of the series, but I'm thinking like season 1, like in maybe a little bit of season 2, when we would get like a bunch of different type of espers that all had like their specialty. Those were some cool takes on manipulations.
The second you can move it freely, you gain countless options. You can restrain, redirect, attack, defend, and control space. And even if none of these are overwhelming on their own, it's a combination of all of these different...
The question is, how did these white lines get so strong? And that's what I was saying about manipulation usually being like a package deal. Like the fact that you strengthen lines of paint to be able to fling cars in Endeavor's 362-pound ass in the air, like that on its own is a whole like extra power that kind of goes unaccounted for.
Factors that make the ability that
he was
much
on trigger
harder to deal with.
Interesting.
But the truly terrifying aspect of manipulation abilities only begins to emerge once the material is something common or naturally available.
Yeah, if you have a manipulation ability with a ubiquitous thing to manipulate, then you're broken. Because you're basically a weapon with infinite ammo.
At that point, the user is no longer limited to a single specific situation.
That's why I do like bending kind of evens itself out, but I've always felt like, I mean, technically speaking, firebenders don't need anything, right? They do their weird cheese stuff. I mean, they kind of use the sun, but again, the sun is ubiquitous. And then I guess technically speaking, air would be the second most ubiquitous unless you're underwater. Earthbending is crazy in its application. And because of the fact that humans are relegated to like land, but like technically speaking, it would be the least common element around, right? The world, we don't know how the Avatar globe works. It seems a lot smaller than our globe. But if we're going based off our globe, the world is like 70% water just off oceans. And that's ignoring like air humidity and sweat and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I do like the way they use bending in Avatar. I'm interested to see how they do it in Seven Heavens once that drops. Seven Havens, rather. People were frying me for saying Seven Heavens.
Battlefield becomes an extension of their moveset. And one of the best examples of this is Gaara from Naruto.
My nigga Gaara, bro. Yo, I don't think y'all understand how much I loved Gaara. Like I was saying earlier, 1st or 2nd grade. There was this one YouTube video. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. There was this one YouTube video I just remembered. It was called like... Okay, y'all gonna think I'm like kind of crazy. You gotta remember, I was like 10, and this was like 2009, 2010, 2011 YouTube, bro. So it was a much different place. Yeah, this is it right here. Where's the original? It must have got deleted. Okay, but I used to watch this video on not on repeat, bro, but this video had me like, let me just play it.
I love you, you love me, we're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Yeah, that was I used to watch that video every now and then. That was like probably the first like, the internet was a different place, bro. Like, yo, I was a tweak ass kid, but I was chilling. I was chilling, bro. But yeah, I loved Gaara because Gaara was like my introduction to like the way anime would make uncool shit cool. You know what I mean? Like I first saw this nigga, I was like, this nigga has no eyebrows and eyeliner. By the time I really got through his whole like character arc in part 1, I wanted to shave my eyebrows off and start, you know what I'm saying? I was thinking about getting a tattoo on my forehead. You know, Gaara took so many things that like you wouldn't see put on like a powerful character in Western media, like sand powers, unless Sandman, but like sand powers, like his whole vibe, his aesthetic. When he had the umbrella, that big ass gourd. You know how anime always have characters with oversized shit, whether it be an oversized sword, anime loves oversized shit, bro. So many tropes in anime that I love. To this day, I was low-key like introduced to through Gaara, so I'm always gonna be banging for Gaara. They did do him dirty though in Boruto, bro. They gave that nigga the fucking I don't know cut, bro. They turned that nigga sorry as shit, bro. Like, come on, that's the Kaze Kage, bro. Let me let bro talk.
Sounded that crazy at a first glance. Sand is just tiny rocks after all, and why would I want to fling pebbles at people instead of literal lightning? But it is the very inherent subtlety of sand that makes it so overwhelmingly lethal. And Gaara spends the entire Chunin exams proving just how broken this ability is. During the Forest of Death arc, a team of rain...
There was a point in time where, like, if you gave me the opportunity to choose any power, I would have chose sand abilities because of Gaara.
...approached Gaara's squad, and we got our first real look at just how suffocating his ability really is. Even when needles come raining down from above, Gaara's sand moves with enough precision to block every single one. Yeah. But the really scary part is in just how quickly the situation reverses.
The shit, yeah, because sand can be suffocating because it's small enough to get into you. That's also when manipulation shit gets crazy. If you can manipulate something that is either inherently in somebody like water or that can get into somebody like sand, again, that's another dangerous, you're a dangerous man.
1 second, he's attacking his opponent from a distance, and in the next, sand has already coated his entire body, lifting him into the air before crushing him to death before anyone can meaningfully react. Yeah. That's what makes Gaara's sand feel so dangerous. It doesn't need to travel like a normal projectile. It is already all around you, beneath you, and moving through the space you are standing.
Fighting him must be annoying as hell too, bruh. You know how like uncomfortable sand feels when you're at the beach and it gets places where you don't want it to be? Imagine that mid-scrap, bro. Sand all in your mouth. Scrap is over, sand all in your hair. Fuck no, bruh.
In. The very moment Gaara decides it, any opponent can be covered and crushed in less than an instant. And the true potential of this environmental control comes out against Kimimaro. Gaara doesn't just throw around.
I forgot he was in the Kimimaro fight. Kimimaro had another very interesting manipulation ability, like bone manipulation or like osteo manipulation. Like manipulating that which bones are made out of and being able to multiply and harden it. That was also real interesting.
Right. He quite literally reshapes the entire battlefield with just one move. Kimimaro is pulled underground before he can even think, as an enormous wave does everything in its power to crush him to death. Kimimaro survives because he's, well, Kimimaro, but the scale of Gaara's attack shows the real advantage of being able to manipulate a material so commonly found in your environment. At that point, the power is no longer impressive because the user found a clever way to make
Part 1 Naruto was different, bro. Before they had like a bunch of energy beams and shit.
It is impressive because the material is useful and available enough to turn almost any fight into an instant win condition. But while it is insane to control something all around people, you can take it a step further and control something that is already...
They're saying Toph might still be alive in Seven Havens, bruh. That would be kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie.
...on their body. With someone like Gaara, the material is common, sure, but he still needs sand around him or has to carry it himself. Environments without sand, like the tournament arena, don't really work in his favor.
Yeah, but and that's why he had to carry that big ass gourd around.
Because
Best Jeanist was interesting too. Although I don't really get what he's manipulating. It's fiber, so it's pretty you know what I mean? Like it's one of those like, can he manipulate the fibers underground that carry fiber optic wires or fiber optic signals? We know he can manipulate clothes, but he can also seemingly manipulate metal fibers. So if you fiberize anything, can he suddenly manipulate it? I don't know.
Unless you're literally butt naked, his material is on you before the fight has even begun. Best Jeanist's power allows him to manipulate clothing, which on paper sounds a bit goofy, like How did this guy become the #3 hero? That is until you realize just how complete
Everyone
his
wears
power
clothing.
sets.
Honestly, I would just fight him bare booty naked. Like if I was in the My Hero verse, I'd probably just run around bare booty naked if I had to fight him. Then what? What you got? You know? He can't do anything to me.
Really is. Clothes, costumes, uniform, pretty much anything you can put on is something he can control. Thus, Best Jeanist has pretty much already won 90.
Oh yeah, he was trying to fade he was trying to fade All For One for a second, wasn't he? And All For One said, "Man, fuck this sorry ass quirk."
9% of his fights from the get-go. He does need to land clean hits or anything. With a single flick of his wrist, the V-neck collar around your chest has suddenly tightened up enough to drain the air from your throat. Against ordinary villains, that means he can end the fights pretty much instantly without even
Just
needing to
restrain
seriously
them.
injure them. And
That's probably why he was such an effective hero, bro. Just boop, #1 capture hero or something.
this is not just useful against cannon fodder. During All For One's fights against the heroes, Best Jeanist is able to briefly restrain him using the fibers in his clothes. Obviously, All For One breaks free because he has a quirk for pretty much any situation.
Hacking
But
ass
imagine
nigga.
if you pull that off.
Remember when he had that anti-stain antigen swap blood quirk? That was simultaneously cold, but also some bullshit.
While All Might was facing him. That is insane support because fundamentally, if any sorts of clothing is touching you, Best Jeanist already has an opening. So while fiber manipulation sounds less impressive than sand manipulation, in practice, it is an even more effective version of the same idea. And
I
now,
still take sand over fiber because what sand has is that, and I guess fiber can have it too, if depending on how you move it. But sand has friction. You can, and if you heat it up, it turns to glass too. But if you move sand across, like skin fast enough, it will cut.
we get to the logical conclusion of these abilities, where manipulation powers stop being versatile, stop being unfair, and start becoming horrifying.
All right, what we got?
When they
Blood
manipulate
bending?
a material inside your very body.
Yeah, that shit is. I remember watching The Legend of Korra because they did a little bit of bloodbending in The Last Airbender, but it became a much heavier theme in Korra season 1. I was in 5th grade when Korra season 1 came out. I was genuinely terrified of Amon, bro. Like nightmare level terrified, bro. That finale, actually had my heart beating in my chest.
And
Season
Avatar
1
is a
finale.
series that takes this concept to its limit. Waterbending is already one of the most versatile powers in Avatar. It can attack,
Yeah.
defend, freeze, and even heal you. And so from this, bloodbending uses a simple fact that there is water in people's blood, and suddenly creates one of the most disturbing
I've always wondered if this is like an abstract question, but when bloodbenders are bloodbending, are they stopping the movement of the water, or is the water still flowing, the blood still flowing in your body, right? Because if they're just fully stopping the movement of blood, technically speaking, you should pass out after 10 seconds of being bloodbent. But I'm led to believe the water is still circulating somehow because no one seems to immediately pass out.
techniques
Although I guess that could be something that they do.
in the entire series. When Hama reveals bloodbending, the horror does not arise from some flashy attack. It comes from the inherent fear of losing control of your own body.
Yeah.
Aang and Sokka are moved around like puppets, their bodies forced into positions they cannot naturally come into. That is incredibly creepy because your body is being forced to do things it normally can't do. But The Legend of Korra is definitely where
Yeah, they
the
took it
atmosphere of
way
this
further.
horror is mastered. Whether it be Yakone violently contorting Aang's body,
Until he locked it and started cheating in Avatar state.
Tarlok using it to instantly shut Korra down, or Amon using it to take someone's very bending away.
I still didn't fully get how the fuck he did that, I'm not gonna lie. But that shit was scary too, bro. Imagine getting your bending ripped from you. Yeah, you're gonna have to kill me, bro.
Bending is not just a technique, it skips straight past durability, skill, or positioning, and attacks the body from the inside out. But while bloodbending is more popular, I think my favorite brutal application of internal bending
What is
comes not
vacuum?
from water, but
Yeah.
from air. 𝙏𝙖𝙡 suffocation technique. The ability works because of the inherent juxtaposition. Airbending is usually presented as the least aggressive bending style.
I was always confused with the vacuums in airbending though, because like, wouldn't the air naturally just fill back into the vacuum that you created, unless you're literally moving all the air around everywhere and, you know, manipulating all of the air close to anybody so that it can't fill in that vacuum? Like, how the fuck would that work? Like, I get it. All right, boom, you take the air out of a space, air would naturally fill back in. You know how, like, and because air is ubiquitous, it's all around. There's no amount that you could really displace that wouldn't have it, like, fill back in. I mean, obviously it's, you know, fantasy, fiction, anime, cartoon logic, but still.
While water can skewer you with ice, fire can incinerate you, and earth can crush you alive, most air-based attacks feel more like just a strong punch. But 𝙏𝙖𝙡 takes that same bending style and applies it to the air already inside someone's lungs. Against the Earth Queen,
I guess they could use it to just pop. Like, obviously, you know, you can't go that lethal in a Nickelodeon show, but they could just burst someone's lungs like a balloon.
𝙏𝙖𝙡 doesn't need to overpower her with some giant tornado or push past her defenses. He simply and coldly removes the very air she needs to breathe until there is no life left. This is what makes the technique so chilling. It is quiet and controlled, turning one of the most peaceful elements in the series into a brutal execution method. Together, blood bending and 𝙏𝙖𝙡's suffocation.
I need to get that Avatar fighting game real quick, but then I know I would just stop uploading trying to get nice. So let me not get that game, bro, because if I do, you niggas will not see me. Nigga gonna become an Avatar game streamer.
Show how terrifying manipulation can be when the material is found inside your body. You cannot dodge your own blood. You cannot block the air inside of your lungs. Once the user can manipulate something inside of you, the fight stops being about who has the stronger attack or the better plan, and simply becomes a matter of just how much mercy the manipulator has left.
True.
The strongest powers in anime are not always the flashiest ones. Sometimes they are the ones that sound harmless.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, the strongest powers in anime are always going to be the bullshits. The fucking, I can control the narrative.
Until someone creative
shit
gets a hold of them. Sound manipulation sounds stupid until it's crushing you to death. Airbending sounds peaceful until it's ripping the air out of your lungs. And soap manipulation sounds ridiculous until someone is lodging a bar of soap down your throat. That is
soap manipulation a power that someone in JoJo actually has?
Behind manipulation powers. Raw powers like super strength may ask, can I hit harder? While manipulation asks, what else can I do? And the answer to that question is almost inherently limitless. So the next time an anime character says they can manipulate something boring, don't focus too much on the material
What is it
itself.
that Charmy manipulates again? I thought she was like a
how many different ways.
I forgot what her original power was. It was like, was it cotton or something?
The manipulation
Cotton
of
magic?
that material can make someone lose. Because, believe me, the answer to that question is probably more thorough than you thought. Thank you for watching the video.
All right, that was cool. That was cool.